Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my craft room. Today, I am going to do a scrapbook process video for you. This is one of the layouts that I've been working on with my scrapbook with Mies, and I kind of wanted to share it with you here and also share my process because I use 12 by 12 sketches, but I bring them down to 8.5 by 11 for my album format for this year. So I just kind of wanted to go through with you how I do this. So this is some pictures from my recent birthday. Got a chance to go out with some really good friends. So I've already cut down my photos. Now the sketch here calls for 4 by 6 photos, so I'm going with a 3.5 by 5 just to cut that photo down slightly. I did stick with a 2.5 by 2.5 for this small photo. Already pre-matted them for this. I am pulling out this paper out of my stash because I'm on a kick in 2023 to use up my stash. So I try to incorporate something from my stash in every layout I do this year, whether it's some embellishments from my embellishment stash or some papers or whatever, or the whole layout can be completely from my stash. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm using, these papers are from an older collection called Perfect Day. And I just thought that they kind of really worked really well with this layout. So what I've done, and I tend to do this on my sketches, I write down the sizes that I'm doing for my, for the papers as if they were from a 12 by 12. But then I take them down slightly for an 8.5 by 11. I do have a chart that I did a whole bunch of math on an Excel spreadsheet. And this chart is actually accessible on my blog. There's a link to a PDF download of this chart. So it goes by your width, your height, and all the various combinations of sizes for cutting things down if you are working in a smaller format such as 8.5 by 11. So I kind of wrote those various sizes here. So one thing, I'm going to put these aside because I already did a little bit of pre-cutting because I'm sure you guys don't need to see me cutting things down. But what I am going to do is I'm going to cut this is an older color called Juniper. It's going to be my base of my page. And so I am going to cut this down to 8.5 by 11. Get that. 8.5 by 11. So I'll put this aside because I really don't need my trimmer right now. And so there's my base. I cut one of the patterns for this. This would have been normally the back page, which if you're doing 12 by 12, 11.5 by 11.5. So I am actually going to adhere this to my page. And I won't be surprised if I run out of tape runner today because I've been doing that kind of lately. So I am going to adhere this down and then I'm going to start building on top of it. So I've cut down, I have a couple strips. Now this piece is 8 by 10.5. Now the top piece here, I've got a lot of times with the height, I don't tend to change the height of things unless it's a really tall piece. So I tend to keep it very similar to what it was on the original 12 by 12 sketch. So I'm just going to adhere. This is going to be a 1-inch tall strip at the top. And then a 1/4-inch strip on the bottom. Just adhere this down. Oops. I am getting to the end of my adhesive. Wouldn't be surprised. It tends to happen to me frequently. Okay, there's that piece. Then I've got my two next pieces. This floral piece. And this next piece here. I love this paper. And what I did is using the Tags and Tabs die from Close to My Heart, pre-die cut some tags. And what I do, the die doesn't come with a reinforcement, but I have a couple punches in my stash that I use. These are small punches. I have a 1/4-inch punch and a 1/2-inch punch. So if you want to make a reinforcement for your tags, you're going to punch through your paper, and I'll show you an example on this scrap of Juniper. So punch through with your 1/4-inch punch first, and I always look from the back side, and then center your 1/2-inch punch so you can see the hole in the center. And there you have a reinforcement. It's a great little technique to use on tabs and tags and things like that that you have. I like using that. So I've got these. I've got 2 for here. I'm going to put this one, go down here. Actually, I think I'll adhere this one now while I'm at it. Let's get this down, roughly put it up a little bit there. And then the way they have this is they put the first layer down. Yep, there we go. It did run out. Just going around and grab another adhesive runner. I am waiting for an order of adhesives to come in, so you'll have to pardon me. So this is roughly centered, a little bit down from the top. This piece. And then we've got one tag that's going to go here, kind of sticking up a little bit. And then this piece going to go on top of that. And this is slightly off the center. Oops. Things always shift when I go to put it down. There we go. There. And then my other tag is going to come out here and slightly up. And then my photos. And what I'm going to do is just quickly grab some foam tape. Because I've kind of gotten in the habit lately of doing 3D foam tape under my focal photo just to give it a little bit of a pop for what I'm working with. So I'm just going to take a couple strips of my foam tape, put it on the back of my focal photo. I kind of got in that habit. Sometimes I'll do that if I've got multiple photos going in the same spot. So I've got my foam tape. And I'm going to put this down roughly in the center of here. So there's my main piece. And then I'm going to adhere my smaller photo down here. It'll be slightly off because I did keep this at a 2.5 by 2.5. So it's going to overhang the bit bottom, but that's okay. I don't mind that. And then I did cut a small piece to go next to it, like they show here, a little bit of a gap. So that's what I have so far. And then I have some journaling strips and what I'm going to put my title down. So what I do, this title, it's going to call Best Day. What I did is I die cut this, and I don't know if you guys can see this. I die cut this we have a Best Wishes thin cut set. It has best wishes, best friends, best day, and I cut it 3 times out of this tulip cardstock, and using my Xyron, adhered the layers together just to kind of give it a little bit of thickness to it, make it stand out a little bit, but not super much, not putting foam tape behind this. So I'm just going to do a rough fit right now on my title where I want it to go. I can have it overhang my photo. So what I'm going to do is actually start. Yeah. Of course, it's still a little bit sticky because of the Xyron I used, but just make sure I've got placement for it. Best. Oops. Everything's sticking to my fingers. Best day. Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I always try to start with the furthest to the edge piece and get my glue and get my tweezers, because otherwise I'm going to have my fingers in the glue. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this, just a few dots along it. Don't have to do it completely. I could probably use my Xyron for this, and then I just use the tip to do it. And then holding my tweezers, here this down, use the tweezers to position it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other pieces. So I'm going to just, bear with me. This glue is great. I'm just going to bring this down just slightly. And I love the fact that it dries clear, so when I make mess, when I get a little bit on the sides, oops. Oh, why is it? It always sticks to my fingers when I don't want it to. I'm sure everybody has that happen. Make sure that that is straight. Okay. That's where it's one of those days, you know, things, think you have everything all prepped and ready, and then you got stuff sticking to your fingers that you don't want. I'm sure all of us can understand that. You get glue and it just seems to get everywhere and you stick to everything. Glue on the back. And I found using the tweezers definitely helps, especially when I'm putting glue on the back of something. And then one last piece. And there's that. Cap on my glue, put it away. And then I've got my journaling strips, which I am going to do. I like doing these strips. I tend to use 1/4 inch tall. Some people I know use 3/8 inch. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space than what they show on the sketch, because I got a little bit more to say about this particular layout than just a few lines. So I'm just going to do this, and I'll write on this after. But this, yeah, I always tend to have some scraps, and I pull them out and cut them down for quick and easy journaling strips. So there's that. And looking at it, I think it needs a little bit of something else. So I'm pulling out some of my mink twine. So what I'm going to do, and luckily I didn't put adhesive up underneath the tops of my tags, so I can actually feed this through. And I am going to tie it. In a knot. And I'm going to do this on each of the tags. You don't have to see me doing it. And then cut. That just, give a little bit of something extra to the layout. But that's my layout. I hope you guys liked it. And if you're interested in joining me for any of my Scrapbook with Me events, make sure you like and follow my Facebook page so you get notifications for upcoming events. And I hope to see you at one of them. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.